Hare Krishna. So we'll start with the prayers. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurulmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupadamayyam Dadati Sapadantikam. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Utapad Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsha. Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धु एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौतस्य नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपसा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्याम जगन्नाथाय ते नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरि बोल या so we'll discuss Kaliya's pastime today. So give me a minute, I'll share PPT with all of you. Hare Krishna. Okay. So this was another day apart from Brahma Viman Leela when Krishna left Balram at home and he went to tend the cows near Yamuna. So that time there was a serpent called Kaliya who was son of Kadru, and he used to live near this lake by the side of Yamuna. So it was like an oxbow lake. Sometimes rivers, meandering rivers make oxbow lake. So it was not directly connected, but somehow connected with Yamuna. So Kaliya had taken shelter of Yamuna, who is called daughter of Suryadev, in order to hide from his enemy Garuna. So there's an entire pastime behind that. I'll just narrate the pastime from Bhagavatam and then we'll go in this chapter. So what had happened is that in Ramanak Island, Kaliya used to stay along with other serpents. And Garuna would come there and eat some serpents there. So then serpents had a truce with Garuna, saying that one of the serpents will come to you, you can devour the serpent and leave rest of us. And Garuna agreed. But then Garuna discovered that whatever serpents would be coming, Kaliya would eat them. So Garuna once took up Kaliya, smashed him by the rocks, and Kaliya was about to die. And Garuna chastised Kaliya very heavily. At the same time, on the other side, in banks of Yamuna, where afterwards it became Kaliyada, so there Saubari Muni used to do tapasya. And actually, Saubari Muni is also a devotee. If we see in the Garga Samhita, he has offered beautiful prayers to Yamuna Devi. And on his instructions, King Mandahata later on became, he got perfection of life. And even he got perfection of life. But somehow what had happened is, so he had great devotion for Yamuna, great devotion for Krishna and Vrindavan, but somehow he didn't had that respect for Garuna. So that is symptom of a, you can say, generally a first class devotee. First class means third class devotee. That is Kanishta. So so what happened is, because he was doing tapasya in Yamuna underwater almost for 10,000 years. So he had developed some friendship with the fishes. So Garuna would come there, take some fishes, and go away. But Sobari Muni was disturbed. He was like, he said that, Garuna, you are not supposed to do all these things here in Yamuna. So Garuna said, okay. And thinking it to be his last meal, he devoured the king of of all the fishes. And Sobari Muni became so disturbed. He cursed Garuna, that if you come back here, then uh, you will die. So although Garuna had all the powers not to accept the curse or curse back Sobari Muni, but being a pure devotee of the Lord, he just left the place. And then what happened is, when Kalia was heavily chastised by Garuna, so Kalia was searching for a place. And here what was happening is that Sobari Muni, he saw two fishes mating, and he got a desire that, I also need to mate. So he went to King Mandasa's palace and married all his 50 daughters. Actually, initially when he went, his body was very decayed, and he asked Mandasa that, I want to marry one of your daughters. And Mandasa said, no, any daughter who selects you can accept you. He knew nobody will select. But then Sobari Muni, being a mystic, he transformed his body in such a way that all the girls wanted to marry him. So then Sobari Muni said that, don't worry, I'll marry all of you. So Sobari Muni left that pond, entered in Grasta life, and became distracted quite a lot for a long period of time. At the same time, what had happened is, because Kalia was searching for a place, he could find only one place where Garuna couldn't come, and that was this lake. So as soon as Kalia came there, all the fish immediately died. So this is a, you can say, result of Vaishnava Aparadh. So he couldn't save the fishes for who on whose behalf he cursed Garuna. He couldn't save himself also. He became distracted for it for quite a long period of time. So although he was a devotee, but still Vaishnava Aparadh worked on his life. So that is how Kali entered this lake. So this venomous snake was embodiment of mal of fear, virus, which was like a incurable disease in Vrindavan. So he was like a death waiting as a helpful friend to engage one. That means he was a death personified. Or he's compared to Rudra, who destroys the three worlds. So because of its venom, generally water is known to subdue the fire. But because of its burning venom, the water of this particular lake would boil. And not just boil, sometimes it would look like it is having some golden color because of fire. Sometimes fires would spark in this lake. So in this way, Yamuna Devi was feeling this particular lake like a black ball of fire in her belly. So it was indirectly connected to Yamuna. And the poisonous vapors of coming from this lake would pollute the entire air. Rather, any bird would fly overhead or to these waters would die. You can see this in the picture also. So the entire atmosphere was contaminated by inauspicious presence of Kaliya there. And in this way, Vrajavasis were severely harassed. Ra- Even the exhalation of Kaliya from his nostrils, they would look like crimson golden radiance coming from Yamuna's waves because they were filled with poison, such a hot poison. So the entire scene of this lake would look like as if the waves of salt ocean are glittering in moonlight because they would glitter because of poison actually. So the dense black smoke would linger over Yamuna and there would be fire within because of this poison. So only people who would remain in this place were Kalia's wives, sons, and also one Kadamba tree. You can see one Kadamba tree in this picture. And the reason being that before Garuna left this place, Garuna knew that Krishna would come and perform pastimes here. So he had kept nectar in the body of this tree. This is explained by Vishwan Chakravarti Thakur. So even today, if you go, then in Kaliyada, the tree is there and there is a hollow in the tree. So the local people say that no, Krishna kept, Garuna kept nectar there. And that is how this particular Kadamba tree was alive. So as one takes shelter under an umbrella, so Kaliya stayed safely in the deep lake of Yamuna. So on this particular day, what had happened is suddenly cowherd boys and cows felt a lot of heat. And immediately, in order to quench their thirst, they ran to quench their thirst, as you can see in this picture. So they went to quench their thirst. And as soon as cowherd boys and cows, they sipped some water. So although they have transcendental bodies, but by the supreme will of Krishna and Leela Sakti of the Lord, they immediately became unconscious. Hmm. You can see in the next picture how they become unconscious. So they became became unconscious, and Krishna became worried about his friends for a moment. But then Krishna's is called Akhal Rasamrit Murti. So his body is made up of nectar. So his glands is also filled with nectar. So with his glands, he revived the Gopas, which you can see in the another picture. Next picture here. So when boys came back to life, they felt very astonished and they smiled very gently. Say they warmly embraced each other and they start talking to themselves. So one Gopa said, "Oh, Krishna is so wonderful. He rescued us the way he rescued us from the cave-like mouth of Agasur. So that time also we had died by poisonous water in the belly of Agasur. And now also we had died because of this poisonous water. But Krishna is so merciful, he saved us. So it seems he always carried this Sanjeev Rasa with himself. So by that he had revived all of us. And in this way they were looking very lovingly towards Krishna. But then Krishna thought this is not enough. So as he descends in this world to subdue all the demons, now he had climbed to the top of this Kadamba tree. You can see this in the next picture. So then he climbed the top of the tree, which practically touched the clouds, kissed the sky, and with a desire to crush the pride of Kaliya, uh, Krishna prepared to fight. So he locked his hairs, tied his turban, tightened his belt, and clenched his fist. And Vishwanath Thakur also said that he slapped his arms like this, both the sides. He slapped. Okay, I'm ready for the fight. And in this way, uh, Krishna's tender body and waist displayed the prime of youth. So, although it was such a tense situation, but Krishna was totally relaxed. So he turned towards the Gopas and he said, "My dear friends, don't be afraid. My transcendental effulgence will dispel all the misfortune. And you wait here, watch the cows, take care of the cows. I'll take care of the demon inside." So in this way, his face was illuminated by his teeth and he had a confident smile. So as Krishna removes the pride and arrogance of materialistic people, now he was eager to remove the arrogance and pride of Kaliya. And then Krishna enthusiastically lived in Yamuna. That you can see in the next picture. So he lived in Yamuna just like a kingfisher dives into the river to catch its prey. And when Krishna jumped in Yamuna, it was such a forceful plunge that actually, according to Vishwanath Thakur, the water went till almost 10 yojanas away. And it was like a tsunami inside the lake. And because of that, uh, the deadly poison from the serpent rose in the form of a mass of foam. So foam came from inside. And seeing that, all the cows and cowherd boys, they ran away in fear because the waves of this pond were coming towards them. And Krishna, when he jumped in this lake, it seemed that he has reached till Patal Loka. Yeah. So Krishna is here inside in the slide. So in this way, Krishna sported in Kalia's lake for some time, like a lordly elephant, swinging his arms, making water resound in various ways. And this agitation caused poisonous water to burst into flames. So Kalia, he could feel these vigorous vibrations. And he was feeling it like somebody has thrashed his life out of his body. And suddenly, Kalia saw Krishna's elegant beauty, which was looking like tamal tree. Krishna's eyes were looking very peaceful and pleasing, and his handsome effulgence defeated even the effulgence of Kamadev. So, seeing Krishna's body covered with fragrant yellow sandalwood pulp, it can easily destroy anyone's pride. But then Kalia, still he had a pride. So, although he was before beholding such beautiful darshan of Krishna, but then his because of his envy, he felt Krishna to be like a intolerable fever. And that's exactly what happens when somebody is envious. If somebody is envious, he can't enjoy even the sweetest nectar. Hmm. Like Krishna says that, "My dear Arjuna, never speak this Bhagavad Gita to the people who are not submissive and who don't have some bhakti for me." So, especially don't speak to the people who are envious. Because if they hear my glory, their envy will increase. So, Kalia felt it like a intolerable fever. And in this way, shaking with anger, you can see in the next slide. Uh, it's from Krishna art book. Okay. So in this way, shaking with anger, Kaliya furiously plunged at Krishna. First, he bit him in the chest, and when nothing happened to Krishna, he tried to squeeze Krishna to death by completely enveloping him in his mighty coils. And Krishna thought this too much. He thought this person has violated his watery domain. And what was happening to Kaliya? Kaliya was suspicious about Krishna's identity. So he was thinking, who is this unknown person who has created such a disturbance? From where has he come? Because he was wondering that even the powerful personalities would come here and die in a moment. And he's there with me. So proud, impudent, and materially attached Kaliya, he was wondering how this mere boy who's so blissful, so beautiful with blooming youth, how could he subdue this Aghasur? Because he had one of the serpents already subdued Aghasur. So he wondering how could he subdue Aghasur? So then he thought maybe he could subdue Aghasur because he has this ability to expand. So that's why what Kalia did is he also used his yogic siddhis. He increased his size to monstrous proportions, and then he tried to smother Krishna. Okay, he can expand, I will also expand. And he was trying his best to squeeze Krishna and kill him. But then he was exhausted in some period of time. And this was happening inside the lake, and something else was happening outside the lake. Uh, so there was an inauspicious atmosphere, and it was looking as if there is an impeding death uh, for all the Vrajavasis. So, uh, on one level, Krishna, with his handsome chest adorned with Kaustubh gem, was performing this pastime of being bound by Kaliya just to satisfy his desire to dance on hoods of Kaliya. But Vrajavasis were very much aggrieved. So currently in this situation, only Gopas were there, and they were standing on the shore of River Yamuna and observing. So while they were observing the Lord of their hearts, trapped in Krishna's coil, uh, yeah, so who was submerged in water. So all these Gopas were filled with fear, lamentation. They are practically paralyzed. So they were seeing that inside the water there is Krishna in the coils of Kaliya. They held their palms on their foreheads. Some of them were weeping very piteously and calling, how painful, how can I bear it? Oh Kanhaiya, what has happened? What has happened? We can't live without you. So without seeing the entire world vacant, mm, Sunaitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Verehin mein. So they had collapsed to the ground. So now practically they had entered the ocean of poison. So they practically died experiencing the Ashtasattvic Vikar in separation from Krishna. So this was happening to the Vrajavasis. And now you can see the next slide that demigods also appeared. So demigods also appeared. So even demigods, their hairs were loosened, their clothes were disheveled, and they also felt that their hearts are pierced with the flaming arrows. So in great distress, they were saying, "Alas, alas, alas! Hi, 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 hi! What has happened? What has happened? What has happened?" And by the Yogmaya potency, different types of omens were visible. On the earth, there were violent earthquakes, which is a symptom of inauspiciousness. In the sky, there was smoke and dust, which was as dark as the horns of a buffalo. So that had blanketed the entire sky. The sun was appearing very dull and it lacked luster. High winds howled in every direction. Lot of winds were there. Then there were inauspicious omens in the bodies of living creatures. So jackals were shrieking very harshly at the sun. They were looking at the sun. They make a sound. So they were making their sounds. As far as gopas are concerned, so all the gopas, even the elderly gopas, their left hand, eye, and thighs were twitching, which is considered inauspicious. And for women, the right sides were trembling, which is also considered inauspicious. And in this way, the anxiety seized the entire atmosphere and it disturbed everyone's mind with grief and discontent. And seeing all these fearful omens, Nanda Maharaj and all the Gopas understood that it looks like some devastating time has come. So the atmosphere looks very hostile and they were worried. And being lovers of Krishna, so although they knew the majesty of Krishna, but being covered by Yogamaya, immediately they felt safety for Krishna. So many inauspicious omens are there. Maybe Krishna is in danger. Uh, so some of the Gopas said, how dreadful. Uh, so our Krishna is very negligent, very naive, very innocent. He's wandering in the forest here and there, which is infested with so many demons. And especially today, he has gone without Balram, who's so powerful and intelligent. Because especially if you go to Nandagaon, they say Balram is supreme personality of Godhead, Dauji. If you go to Govardhan, they say Govardhan is supreme Lord. If you go to Barsana, they say Radharani is supreme Lord. Krishna is a sweet lover. That's all. So he had gone without Balram, so Krishna must be in danger. And then they think without Krishna we can't live. So because we can't do anything, we are not able to understand what is happening. Let us chant the name of Shiva, Shiva, Shiva. Let there be auspiciousness. So in this way, Vrajavasis, whether they were eating, drinking, whatever they were doing, they left everything and they ran. They ran to find Krishna. Even 1-year-old babies, they were following the men. Small, small babies. Some of them crawling or walking on their four legs and they were following the men there. And they followed the footprints of Krishna. How could they follow the footprints of Krishna? Because not a single calf or any animal of Vrindavan, what to say of Gopas, would ever step on the footprints of Krishna. Sanchittayet bhagavatascharanarvindam vanjakus dhvat saroju lanchanadyam उत्तुंग रक्त विलसन मख चक्र वाला ज्योत्सा विरहनाथ आहात महत दृढ़. So Krishna's footprints are have symbols of flag, barleycorn, thunderbolt, lotus flower, elephant goat. So in this way, Krishna's footprints look very beautiful. Our footprints don't look very beautiful. That is why we use wipers to wipe them out. But Krishna's footprints look very beautiful. And each of these footprints, when we meditate on them, has a special effect. Like anybody who meditates on thunderbolt, then the mountains of one's sins are destroyed. Anybody who meditates on elephant goat, then the powerful elephant-like mind is controlled. So because of that, Vrajavasi would feel Krishna's footprints like the decorations on the land of Vrindavan. So none of them would ever step on these footprints. So all the Vrajavasis, they were following these footprints to find where Krishna has gone. And then you can see the next slide. Yeah. So immediately, Nanda Maharaj, Yasoda, Balram, elderly Gopas, along with all their small, small children, they all hurried to the bank of Yamuna. And from a distance, they saw Krishna trapped in the lake. She's motionless, is within the coils of the venomous serpent. And stepping closer, they immediately understood the situation just by seeing the facial expression of other Gopas who were unconscious. So, witnessing this scene, Brajavasis were succumbed to anguish and confusion. They didn't know what to do. Ah. So, if they went near, they would die because of poison. But even they were standing on the banks, they were drowning in the poison of separation from Krishna. So, their hearts were burning just like a person who's affected by poison. So, all the women, they fell like creepers thrown by a high wind. And all the men, they toppled down as if they are like uprooted trees. So in this way, they sprawled all out in all directions of the lake. Uh, at the same time, filled with panic and shock, Nanda Maharaj cried out in a choked voice, Kanaya, my darling son, why you done all these things? Oh, dearest of all, please come back, please come back. So, gripped with lamentation, the cowherd man fell down unconscious along with Nanda Maharaj. Yasuda was swooned with equal distress and sadness, and she was wailing like a Kurari bird. Kanaya, what has happened? Please come back. So then, at a point of time, it's like practically all the Vrajavasis wanted to jump inside the lake and die. So, you can see the next slide. Yeah. So, in the next slide, you can see young gopis. So, young gopis were also there. But for them, situation was even more troublesome because they couldn't openly express their love for Krishna. So they were neither able to cry nor lament, but they were staring at Krishna with unblinking eyes. But the piteous wailing of the stint atmosphere caused a downpour of tears from their eyes. And the entire mud of the bank of Yamuna became muddied by the tears. So all the Sakis, they also became unconscious. And they also fell flat on the ground like creepers or the trees cut down by the hurricane. Uh, so although they were fainting, but they were alive because they were recounting the pastimes of Krishna. So even in that miserable state, gopis somehow maintain themselves by remembering different pastimes of Krishna. So in this way, intense lamentation permeated the entire atmosphere. And when Balram looked there, he was amazed. Actually, Balramji was smiling. Some of the acharyas condemn it. They say, Are, Balramji should have sympathized with Vrajavasis to some extent. Why was he smiling? Why Balramji was smiling? Balramji was smiling was he was thinking, I am always present as Anand says, he never plays with me. And this water snake is so fortunate that Krishna is playing with this water snake. So in this way, Balramji was smiling. But when he saw the anguish of the Brajavasis, especially Nanda Maharaj and all the Gopas were about to enter in the lake to save Krishna. Although they knew that as soon as they would touch the water of the lake, they would die. So Balram started enlightening everyone by this time. So he's Adi Guru. So he started displaying that how is Adi Guru. So he said, Oh father, Because Krishna is very dear to you, your heart is burning and you are overwhelmed with lamentation. But you don't have to be so much anxious for this body because it is working because of Krishna's mercy. And Maya, don't cry or lament anymore. Hear my words and be patient. So, Vrajvasis, you should not be so much grief stricken because you are not able to ascertain the danger. I'll tell you what is the danger. Actually, there's no danger because you are unaware of magnitude of my younger brother's valor, which always increases the joy of others. You are lamenting like that. I am the only one who understands the actual identity of Krishna. Even greatest of the demigods, they don't understand even the fraction of opulence of Krishna. And that's why be steady in your intelligence. Huh? So for lion like Krishna, to subdue this demon Kaliya is not a very big thing. Just as can't conquer a mountain, or darkness can't ever cover the sun, or clumps of reeds can never extinguish the raging forest fire. They will burn in it. Similarly, Krishna who wears Makar Kundal, he is not a bit afraid with this tiny water snake. And there is a tiny water snake, my God, this Kaliya. So that's why give up your grief and wait for some moments. Very soon, in some moments only, Kanhaiya will finish off this lowly snake and he will come out of water. So have confidence on my words. Don't worry. And when Balram was speaking like that, you can see the next slide. Then seeing the acute distress of his mother, father, relatives, and even the demigods, Krishna decided this is a time to free from myself from the serpent. Uh, so when Krishna was in the coils of Kaliya, he was looking like a full moon embraced by a dark branch of the dark tree. But then he expanded a little bit, got rid of Kaliya's clutches, and then he lifted his lotus face. He casted a beautiful smile towards Brajavasis, and then he began to dance. So suddenly all the demigods, they came with their musical instruments. Like when Prabhupada began to sing in Tompkins Square Park, all the hippies came with their musical instruments. So similarly, all the demigods were there with their musical instruments. So some came with their dundubis, they were playing dun 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 dun. Some were playing on bheris, dum 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 dum, making sounds. And they all were coordinating sound, and Krishna began to dance. Uh, so it so there was so much of sound that it would threaten anybody's ears. So they were like all the demigods, they were coordinating music. And upon hearing the sound, auspicious sound of the demigods, Vrajavarisis gained their lives. So they pushed themselves up from the ground, whoever were fainted, and they were hearing this joyous celestial music is spreading in all the directions. So initially they were very fearful on seeing this extreme fear serpent Kaliya, who was looking more black than iron, whose poison was coming in form of foam and sparks off from his mouth. And with his from his gem-studded heads, he was looking so effulgent. Sparks were shooting from his eyes, and uh, his mouth was resembling like a boiling ghee. So Kaliya was pouncing on Krishna, but then Krishna was so skillfully dancing. So Kalia was trying to lick the sky by his fangs. So each mouth had 100, sorry, two fangs. So there were more than 200 tongues which he had. And Krishna, as you can see in the next slide also, yeah, it's from Krishna artwork. Krishna dancing on Kalia. Yeah. So then Krishna was slipping from one head of Kalia and dancing on other head. So this was the most slippery dais in the entire world among all the stages. But Krishna was very beautifully dancing in that. And then pointing at Krishna, Balram said, just see Kanhaiya, what he is doing. His tender body and eyes are beautified with kajal. Ah. So he is looking like kajal on the personified, death personified Kalia. And then he was saying that, Balramji was saying that his priceless jeweled ornaments are sparkling million times more than fiery sparks coming from the mouth of Kalia. So Krishna has all power to finish this demon, but he's enjoying. He's dressing artistically. He has a turban, he has earrings, he has yellow cloths, he has forest flower garland. His curly hairs are loosened, and he has freed himself from the grip of serpent. And just see how he's kicking down the heads of Kalia. And then he was encouraging all of them. Balramji. Just to please all of you, Krishna is determined to extinguish the gems on the hood of the serpent Kalia. Krishna's body is so glowing so nicely, and he is dancing so beautifully. And by dance, he's diminishing the radiance of those jewels. So, if you understand what I have spoken, don't worry, just enjoy the dance. And Krishna was like smiling, Balramji was laughing, and all the Vrajavasi they lost all lamentation and they began to enjoy. So, although they were still overwhelmed with the size of this snake, Kalia, but Krishna was looking so pleasing like Kunda flower. So, before even dancing, actually, Krishna casted a sidelong glance to enliven his friends who were brimmed with affection and their attachment for Krishna. So now Krishna started dancing in the best of the steps. So the Siddhas, Kinnaras, Gandharvas, Vidadharas, and all the demigods, so they showed their respect and appreciation for Krishna. And at the same time, these demigods were playing on mridangas, murajas, pandavas, panas. And some of the demigods and even the apsaras were dancing behind Krishna. It's like nowadays we have a hero or heroine dancing, and there are some people dancing behind. So it has come from this episode, maybe. Yeah. So then they were dancing behind. So Krishna, who is unlimited reservoir of wonder and expert in all artistic skills, so he was cruelly smashing down Kalia's heads with his feet. But actually speaking, Krishna was also showing mercy to Kalia. So sometimes Krishna would dance fast, sometimes slow, sometimes medium. And when Krishna would dance like that, all other demigods will also dance like that. And all the demigods were playing on the drums. Thia ta 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 thaya, thai 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 thaya tha ta ta. So they're playing like that. So they were playing sometimes loud pitches, sometimes high pitches. Demigods were bringing new melodies, new notes, sounds, rhythms. Krishna was dancing. And all the demigods were also dancing. Krishna would step from one hood of serpent to another. And then Krishna started dancing in such a way, in a self-styled manner. So the music was being played, Krishna was dancing, demigods were dancing, and then Krishna started dancing in such a way they were not able to imitate also. Uh, So Krishna danced in such a way that it crushed the pride of the demon, Kaliya, as well as the expertise in dancing and music of all the demigods also. So they were not able to play the music the way Krishna was dancing. So they were playing on the musical instrument, drung, 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 drimmy, drimmy, tung, tung, tung. It was going faster and faster and faster. Krishna was also dancing more faster, stamping on the hoods of the serpent. And now Krishnas are dancing in such a speed and in such a way that all the Apsaras and Gandharvas became embarrassed. They were not able to match with Krishna. So that's why Krishna is called Nataraj. He knows, he's expert dancer. So they were feeling very embarrassed, but they were trying to keep their pace with Krishna. But at a point of time, all their attempts were defeated. And even the Dundubis or the kettle drums, they failed. They failed to match with the speed of Krishna. So demigods were not able to uh, match with the steps of Krishna. All the sages were chanting various hymns. Demigods brought flowers from Nandakanan gardens, and they were throwing on Krishna. And all the Vrajavasis were exhilarated by this time. But all the demons were so much depressed. So this Tandav Nritta done by Krishna on the hoods of Kaliya devastated Kaliya. You can see in the next slide. So Kaliya was devastated. Blood started streaming out from Kaliya's mouth. His eyes popped out. His hoods were collapsed. Uh, and seeing their husband vanquished and heartbroken, the Nagpatis, they felt very sorry. Uh, so they felt very sorry and they were crying very piteously. So initially, when Krishna was subduing Kaliya, all these Nagpatnis thought, it's very good. We had tried to preach Kaliya so many times, he never listened to us. And now it's very good that he's going to die facing the blows of Krishna's footprints, of Krishna's feet. But suddenly they saw that Kaliya's gestures are changing. He's becoming humble. So not just blood and venom is coming from his mouth. Now he looks very sober and he looks very calm. It seems his nature is changing now. So then they thought, it seems that Kaliya is becoming receptive. Maybe he's turning into devotee because of touch of Krishna's lotus feet. Krishna Chakur Thakur talks about all these details about the mind of Nagpatnis. So then at a point of time they thought, let us save Kaliya. Because Kaliya has become our uh, devotee husband, he would take care of us. Otherwise, what happens is if Kaliya dies, other deadly, poisonous, wicked serpents would try to enjoy with us. So let us save our husband now. So they thought, our husband will not survive unless until he attains the mercy of Krishna. So let us pray to Krishna. So then at a point of time, they abandoned all the fear, shyness. They kept their tiny serpent children on their laps and they approached Krishna and petitioned on behalf of their husband. Hmm. So now you can see in the next slide, all these Nagpatnis, they come to pray. Yeah. So they began to pray to Krishna in their sweet voices. So give me a minute. So they pray that, my dear Lord, all glories unto you. O crest jewel of all the demigods, who other than you can be Supreme Brahman, Par Brahman. Even Brahma and Shiva, they constantly glorify you, who is the unlimited ocean of transcendental qualities. See, they were able to pray like that because they were already devotees. So they knew glories of Krishna. So then they say that yogis and big, big Paramhamsas, they praise you and they constantly meditate upon your lotus feet. These same lotus feet, which have touched our husband's forehead now, they're always massaged by the auspicious lotus hands of Mother Lakshmi. And as swans, they produce some sort of chemical from their beak. And if we mix water and milk together, milk gets separated, water gets separated. They accept only milk. Similarly, Paramhamsas, they reject all other goals like dharma, artha, kam, moksha, and they just accept the bliss of your service. And then they say that, oh, my dear Lord, you are extolled throughout the Vedas. Please, please hear our prayer. O Lord, you are personification of Anand, eternity, bliss, and knowledge. But you are a person. So your form is totally spiritual, and you accept this transcendental form, especially to annihilate all the demons. You are Puran Pursa, you are oldest. You are origin of everything. You are always youthful. Rather, you are the fountainhead of all the Vishnu expansions also, as Krishna has shown in Brahma Viman Leela. Hmm. So, my dear Supreme Lord, please give up your anger and show us your mercy. O Vasudev, you are life-giving Lord to all. O Sankarsan, you remove all the miseries of the universe. O Pradyumna, you are treasure of love for all the Vrajavasis. O Aniruddha, your Yogamaya potency prevents ordinary people from perceiving you. So they pray to all the four Chaturvyas, Vasudev, Sankarsan, Narudda, and Pradyumna. You are the super soul of all demigods. Ah, you are the life and soul of all the Vrajavasis. My dear Lord, please be pleased by our prayers, because the life of our husband Kalia is just about to depart. So those lotus feet of yours, which delight all the Atmaramas and remove all mental anxieties, they're rarely achieved even in Samadhi. But our husband is so fortunate that these lotus feet are now standing on the hoods of our husband. So, my dear Lord, we have no idea how could Kalia attain such a rare fortune that he is getting the touch of your lotus feet. Actually, this wicked snake, he deserves punishment. But the thing is that unless until you are merciful to someone, how can person give up his wickedness and follow the right paths, righteous paths? It's impossible for any living entity to do it on its own. So, my dear Lord, you alone maintain the entire universe which is created by three modes of material nature. Uh, and you maintain the world by mode of goodness, which purifies the mind. You have only created this world of passion and ignorance, which is darker than night, and you are the destroyer of creation. Indirectly, they were saying, okay, you can say Kali is possessed by passion and ignorance. Who has created that passion and ignorance? You have created that. So that's why you should forgive him, because you are the creator of passion and ignorance. So that's why, my dear, mighty armed one. So it is by a name only that Vishnu, who rides on Garuna, is maintainer, Brahmaji is the creator, or Shiva is the destroyer. Actually, you are all the creator, maintainer, and destroyer. Uh, So, O one who is dear to those who have nothing, akinchana. So you are tvam akincham gocharam. So you are dear to those who have nothing, who are niskinchanas or akinchanas. Living entities appear by different combination of modes of material nature. Some are born from mode of goodness, like brahmanas, cows. Some are born from mode of passion, like lions and tigers, or the heroic kshatriyas. Some are born in mode of ignorance, like this Kaliya. So you are the one who has created the ignorance, and Kali is created in mode of ignorance. That is why by nature he is very crooked. So like it's impossible to see Akash Pusp, flower in the sky. Uh, Similarly, it is impossible to see any gentle behavior or good manners in serpent. Serpent by nature are envious. So Kaliya has acted according to his nature. Hmm. By nature, he can't do any good to anyone. And your Maya is so powerful that he has no power to overcome this Maya also. So who has created this Maya? You have created this Maya. Who has created a mode of ignorance? You have created this mode of ignorance. And anyway, serpents by nature, they don't have free will to come to mode of goodness. So I think you should not expect good behavior from him. So this is the nature of anyone who lives in the hole, like Kaliya. And because he's acting by his very nature, his actions can't be considered offensive. Because he doesn't have a free will. It is like practically he's like a bound. Uh, So how can you, who is eternally liberated, who is ocean of mercy, who is full of opulence, deny giving mercy to such a lowly Kaliya? पतित पावन हेतु तुम्हारा अवतार मौसम में पतित प्रभु ना पाई प्यार. So you are patit pavan, so I am the most lowly, please deliver me. Hmm. So he said, you are patit pavan, so please deliver this Kaliya. As far as you are concerned, you treat everyone equally. And all your actions, whether towards the demons or demigods, they're always filled with auspiciousness. That's why, my dear Lord, please very, very quickly show your mercy to our afflicted husband. So he's already very lowly. It doesn't befit you to kill such a lowly living entity like a serpent. Hmm. And don't expect that Kaliya should have changed himself. Kaliya should have behaved nicely. Kaliya should have seen that Brajavasis are there. I should not trouble them. Kaliya should have been your devotee. Why? Because as far as even Shiva, Brahma, Lakshmi, even the sannyasis who perform sadhana, great meditation, they do attentive service, even they can't understand you. How can Kali understand you? After all, Kali is in mode of ignorance and is filled with pride. So how can he know you? And already, as far as you may say, okay, but he deserves some punishment because of misusing his free will. So already playfully you have kicked him, you have danced on his heads. So although he was powerful, he has no power anymore. So he's so weakened that only some life years are remaining in his body. So indeed he's cruel, ill-behaved, but my dear Lord, whatever he may be, ultimately he's one of your living entities. You only speak in Bhagavad Gita. Aham bij pada pitaha. I am the seed giving father of all the living entities. So, my dear Lord, we don't hope that he doesn't die. So, please forgive his offense and return our husband. Because if he dies, we'll become widows. If we become widows, who will protect us? He has turned into a devotee and he will protect us. But if he dies, then we'll be exploited by other serpents. So, we need to have some favorable situation where we can practice Krishna consciousness. So, in this way, Nagpatni's petition to Lord in a choked voice. And Krishna was angry by this time. His anger got dissipated by hearing the uh, pleading voices of his devotee who were Nagpatnis. She thought, let me reduce the punishment to Kaliya now. So now you can see in the next slide. Yeah. So in this slide, you can see how Krishna is showing his mercy. So smiling very sweetly, now Krishna replied to the wives of Kaliya, Ma socha, ha, don't fear. So Krishna said that although I am very angry, but your sweet appeal has satisfied me. So as a shower of monsoon extinguishes a forest fire, similarly, your pleasing prayers have removed my intense anger. And as a result of that, I will now spare the life of Kaliya. So now I request you to take your husband, Kaliya, and return to your original abode. Now, some acharyas say that they were wondering if Kaliya had turned into a devotee, why couldn't Krishna allow Kaliya and his wives to stay back in Vrindavan? And they say the reason is that sometimes condition nature returns. And because of that, uh, they were thinking, sorry, Krishna was thinking, no, they were thinking, Krishna was thinking, let him go away from Vrindavan. And then Krishna said, don't worry about Garuna, that Garuna will trouble your husband. So your husband's heads are decorated by footprints. You can see that also in painting. He has footprints. And seeing these footprints, Garuna would feel blessed to see them. And that's why now you don't need to fear him. So Garuna would understand, oh, Kali is carrying footprints of Krishna. He has become Krishna's devotee. So he will not trouble. Like we all also have these footprints of Krishna in the form of these two lions and Tulsi is there. So that is how we also decorate ourselves with the footprints of Krishna. So now his false pride is broken, like a person bent over from carrying a heavy mass of iron. So Kaliya felt very relieved. He was very assured that Krishna will protect him. And now Kaliya begins to offer prayers. You can see this in the next slide. Yeah. Kaliya offering prayers. So actually, according to our acharyas, practically Kalia repeated the prayers of his wives because he didn't know anything. So although Kavi Kanpu has spoken some prayers, but we see in uh, Bhagavatam also, practically they look similar prayers. Because the only thing which he has heard, actually heard, he has heard many things before also, but with the submissive heart, he heard his wives for the first time. That's why it doesn't matter whether one is a uh, from Varnasana point of view or from officer point of view, low and up. It matters who is more advanced in Krishna consciousness. केवल विप्रा केवल नासी शूद्र का होना है जी कृष्ण तत्ववेता सही गुरु है. हम्म. और मुकुंद सरकार said that Raghunandan is my father because Raghunandan has more love. So with fear, devotion, and submission, now Kalia began to speak prayers. He said, "O Lord, with all your opulence, you appear in this world to crush the demons and award them treasure of Krishna Prem. So you come, you crush the demons, you give Prem to your devotees. So as soon as or as long as sun and moon remain, your beautiful pastimes will give joy to the minds of your devotees. You always bring auspiciousness to the unfortunate people. So, O abode of compassion, actually Yamuna is meant for your pastimes. And because I had polluted this Yamuna, which was meant for your pastimes, you have full right to punish me for my offense of poisoning her waters. Uh, and if you would have not shown me mercy, would have shown me mercy? Rather, I'm so fortunate that your dancing has decorated my hoods with the marks of your lotus feet. So now my life has become completely auspicious. O Ramanuj, younger brother of Baldev, hmm, by your order, I will now return to Ramanaka island from where I came. O Devadev, supreme lord of all demigods, due to some misfortune I had offended you. Uh, but my dear lord, please forgive me for all my offenses. So one who wears Makar Kundal, kindly forgive me. So he accepted his mistake. He said that Krishna has justly punished him, not just punished him, has also blessed him. So in this way, Kalia concludes his prayers. And you can see in the next slide that how Kalia also gave some special jewels to Krishna as a gift. So he presented a valuable ruby and a pearl necklace as a gift to Krishna. Then he, along with his family, offered obeisances to Krishna and they left Yamuna. And as soon as Kalia left Yamuna, immediately all the water of Kalia Daha became transformed into the water which was sweetest of the nectar. Yes. And then you can see the next slide. That after Kalia left, Krishna, who ever enacts fresh and effulgent pastimes, climbed up on the bank of Yamuna. The golden bangles of his lotus feet glistened attractively, and smearing dhoti defeated the brightness of lightning. And according to different acharyas, at different kalpas, Krishna performed different pastimes. So even according to some acharyas, that after Krishna danced on the hoods of Kaliya and Kaliya was subdued, Krishna again danced on the hoods of Kaliya along with gopis. So he had a Ras Leela. Also, according to some acharyas, in some other kalpa, like in this kalpa, Krishna goes to Mathura with Akrura. In some other kalpa, Krishna goes to Mathura riding on the back of Kaliya. Because Kaliya said that, my dear Lord, Karuna is very fortunate that he has an opportunity to take you on his back. Please grant me this fortune at least once. So Krishna fulfills that desire. So different kalpa, different pastimes are there. So by this time, this Kaliya pastime happened. And also Krishna's pastime of Kaliya Daman is considered a beginning of Raslila. Because by dancing on the hoods of Kaliya, Krishna showed to all the gopis, I am an expert dancer. So we have open invitation. You can come to our dancing program in Raslila. So Krishna indirectly, he gave invitation to all the gopis. So after the entire episode, Krishna came, he paid obeisances to his parents, Nanda Yasoda, and all the Vrajavasis. So this particular pastime of Krishna was filled with fear, curiosity, bliss, everything. And then seeing the victory of Krishna, Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Now you can see the next slide. Nanda, Yasoda, Balram, they all warmly embrace Krishna. All the gopis, they cast sidelong glances towards Krishna. Oh, very good dancer. And then you can see in the next slide. And then comes the chance of cows. Because Krishna had saved the lives of cows. And cows actually had Vatsalaras mixed with Santaras. So they also saw Krishna as their own son. Because Krishna drinks their milk. So all the innocent cows encircled Krishna, looked at him for a long time, as you can see here in the slide. And their eyes were full of tears and their hearts were full of delight. So while smelling the pleasing fragrance of Krishna's body, all the cows felt very overwhelmed and they began to lick Krishna. And all the cows were looking as if they're inquiring from Krishna, are you okay? Moo, moo. They were making sound like that. And they were asking, oh, are you all right? Are you all right? So this way, hearing the cheering of his friends submerged Krishna with ocean of happiness. So after reciprocating with uh, cows, now came the time of other gopas, as you can see in the next slide. So then Krishna embraced all his friends, all the gopas. So after all the devotees were like reciprocated with by Krishna, so by this time it was like very dark. So it became almost like night time. So all the Vrajavasis, who they thought, let us relax back in uh, this place at Kalida only. So they had a desire to spend time with Krishna because they were already so much in anxiety about Krishna for the whole day. And suddenly Nanda Maharaj also announced, he says, my dear Vrajavasis, it is almost night time. And I see frightening darkness in the form of Rudra everywhere. And anyway, at this place only, my glorious son Kanhaiya, he had restored the purity of this lake by removing the fiery poison. So let us all spend the night here in auspicious place. And all the brothers were so happy. Haribol. Nice time. So everybody was very happy. So all the gopis and the elderly gopis, young gopis, they were all very happy because they had the opportunity to look at Krishna's beautiful form, which was looking more elegant than monsoon cloud, which was looking very youthful, full of joy, attractive to all. Uh, Krishna was gazing at them. They were gazing at Krishna, the young gopis. And earlier, their mental disturbance was looking like the itching of a skin sore, which was getting relieved by glancing at Krishna. And then they prepared to take rest. So you can see the next slide. So this is how they made mandala. Mandala means the circle. So Krishna was at the center, and there were 5 circles. So in the first circle, nearest to Krishna, were Nanda Maharaj, the elderly Gopas. Next to them were Mother Yashoda and the young Gopas. Also, beside their mothers were young gopis, and married gopis were near their mother-in-laws. So they all of them were in the first circle, nearest to Krishna. So we can show all the Vrajavasis, but some of them are there. In the second circle were the husband of these gopis. This was the second circle. In the third circle, there were men who protected everyone with their bows and arrows. This was the third circle. Then in the fourth circle were the cows and the calves. And then in the fifth circle, there were several soldiers of Nanda Maharaj who were holding various weapons in their hands. So in this way, vyuhas or the circles were found. 5 circles were found. So practically half of the night was spent by the Vrajavasis while they were discussing about Krishna's incredible beauty and how he defeated Kaliya today. So they were discussing Kaliya Daman Leela. According to Vishwanath Thakur, actually, in the night time, they were feeling hungry, and it was summertime also. So, but there was no food there. Some of them planned that let us drink the milk of cows. But then other Gopas said that no, no, no. Because cows had drunk poisonous water that day. So they were fearful that the milk may be having poison. So they didn't drink the milk. So after the half of the night was passed, as you can see in the next slide, they began to sleep. So they were sweetly sleeping. So it was quiet hours of the night time, and uh, the eyes and the minds of gopis were fully satisfied by gazing at Krishna's moon-like face. So they were gazing at the attractive Krishna Chandra. And especially Chandravali and other gopis, for them it was a joyous festival for their eyes. So you can see the next slide. That all the young gopis, they were glancing at Krishna. And Radharani and Krishna, for the first time, it was like they were so near, lying down. So they were like glancing at each other, and their desire was fulfilled now. They were able to glance so closely. So Radha and Krishna, they were extending their necks in anticipation, looking at each other. Oh. Their eyes were locked in enchantment, and they were exchanging romantic glances with each other. So first, Radharani disturbed Krishna's vision with her sidelong glance. And this agitation was looking like seeking of a lotus flower. And when Krishna opened his sidelong glance from his lotus eyes, Radharani's eyes, which were also like lotus, they reduced to a bud out of shyness. So basically, she closed her eyes out of shyness. So in this way, both of them were crushed by the arrows of spiritual Kamdev. So as the night was falling, Love between Radha and Krishna was increasing more and more. And Chandravali and all gopis, they were happy that they were able to glance at Krishna, but they were able to identify that Krishna is glancing only at Radharani. So they are feeling very envious. Ah, what is this? Krishna is glancing only at Radharani. No, we are also gopis. You should glance at us also. We are also beautifully dressed. And some of the gopis, they were awake. And suddenly they found there is some danger. So already there was fire inside in form of hunger. Now they could see some fire outside. So one of the gopis said, "Oh, look, look, there is a great danger ahead." And hearing that commotion, cows woke up and they looked in all the directions. And all the Gopa leaders they were talking among themselves. What is happening? What is happening? And because of that sound, Krishna, gopis, uh, they all were very worried. The gopis said the nails of his feet are more worshipable than millions of our lives. There should be no danger for Krishna. And actually, that is a symptom of love. They were not worried about their life, they were worried about Krishna. What will happen if we are surrounded and burnt by fire? Hmm. So, judging from the frightening glances, Krishna looked at them with love and assured them, Masucha, Masucha, don't worry, don't worry. Some people said, is it Kalia who is seeking revenge again? It seems that he was so that he's very humble. And I think he has come up again and he's burning us with fire. Some others said, no, 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 no. It looks like large group of wild elephants are charging madly due to intoxication of playing in a mountain. Because of that, the dust is coming out. It is not smoke, it is dust. And then you can see the next slide. Ah. So some of the gopas, they say, hey, look, come on, there's no way out. We all are engulfed by great fire. So hearing that, Nanda Maharaj became very fearful. But then he remembered Garg Muni's words. Because Garg Muni has said, if you take care of the sun, he will save you from all the calamities. So Nanda Maharaj and all the gopas, they ran to Krishna and they began to sing very beautiful verse. So of course it is not there in Vrindavan Champu, it is there in Bhagavatam. Maybe you can repeat after me. Krishna Krishna Mahabhaga He Ramamit Vikramaha ऐसे घोर बहो तह वह घरो ऐसे घोर बहो गहनेस ताव कान ग्रसते ही ना. So Krishna Krishna Mahabhaga. uh, O Krishna, most auspicious one, please save us, please save us. uh, Hey Ram Amit Vikramaha, O most powerful Balram. Ace Ghora Tamo Vahnis. This Vahni or fire is engulfing us from all the sides. uh, so Tavakan Grastena. So it is engulfing us, please save us. So you are the only one and the only Lord of Vrindavan. So this terrible fire is burning down our homes and it is coming towards us with tremendous speed. Uh, so there can't be any auspiciousness unless until you extinguish it. So this takes shelter of Krishna. And we all are also burned by forest fire of metal existence. So only when Krishna engulfs it, we can be saved. So seeing his mothers, fathers, friends, family members overwhelmed with distress, Krishna, Madhava, he said, don't fear, Master. And then he said that ordinary fire can't appear in this transcendental land of Vrindavan. So actually, this forest fire came to enchant everyone with Krishna's amazing pastimes. And then you can see in the next slide how fire comes so near. So forest fire had burnt all the dry trees on the paths, the leaves on the path. Leaves were creating crackling sound, making some sound. Frightened animals who they were running here and there in that raging fire, and the flames of fire were practically licking the sky. And then you can see the next slide. Krishna got up and he thought, this devastating fire is killing so many beasts of Vrindavan who are so sinless. This fire is threatening the lives of my friends. And what to say of all of them? Even the trees and leaves of Vrindavan are so dear to me. All of them are burning to ashes. It hurts me more by seeing the terrified crying of the cows. And this cloud of smoke has blinded these poor birds of Vrindavan who had so much love for me. So Krishna was concerned with about everyone in Vrindavan, including the trees and leaves of Vrindavan. Maddened with fear, the deers are running here and there. And then he was thinking, what should I do? So as one pacifies the desires of poverty-stricken people, similarly, Krishna extinguished the fire in no time. It didn't take any effort for Krishna. And then you can see the next slide. Again, everything disappeared. It was looking as if it was some magician's trick, or it was a flash of lightning, or it was some object in dream, or it was like a wealthy for an unfortunate person. In the dream, he may see, oh, so much wealth has come. He opens his eye and it is gone. And then Krishna showered his merciful glances on the trees, shrubs, creepers. All of them came back to their previous state. So not even a trace of forest fire remained. And Gopas, they start talking to each other in amazement. They said, were we mad? Where is fire now? Huh? Fire was burning everything and suddenly it is gone. So they thought maybe we were an illusion. There was fire, but there was no fire. So in this way, uh, now by this time it was like morning time. So all the Vrajavasis, they were looking very elegant. So they all entered in their town. So all the Gopas, Gopis, they all returned to their town. And Krishna, who's the glory of his family, he was filled with boundless bliss because he had performed exciting pastime just now. So Krishna is nectar sour of mercy, essence of all good fortune for one who teaches the love to his devotees. And all the Vrajavasis surrounded Krishna and they began to praise him by the prayers which they learned from Gargacharya. So again, next day, Krishna went to the forest, came back. Vraj gopis were waiting for Krishna. So there, they were longing for Krishna to come back. Krishna returned, they became happy. So this particular episode continues. And then after that, because Kaliya pastime had happened, Krishna had already exchanged glances with gopis. So the minds of the young gopis of Vrindavan got transformed because of their rising desire to enjoy intimately with Krishna. So there were many impediments like their family members, the culture at that time. But the chariots of the gopis' mind always carried them to the thought of Krishna. And because of their strong attraction for Krishna, they could hardly think about what is right and what is wrong. So transcendental Cupid has seized the control of the hearts of the gopis. So when it comes to transcendental Cupid, he is Pradyumna. He's not Kamdeva of this world. Hmm. So they were trying best to hide their feelings, but then they couldn't hide their feelings. So they would discuss among themselves and somehow relieve each other from the anxiety caused by pangs of love for Krishna. So one of the gopis called Chandravali, she was very anxious and she was overcome by intense love for Krishna. And like Lalita and Visakha are very dear friends of Radharani, Padma is very dear uh, friend of Chandravali. So Padma, whose elegance defeats the beauty of lotuses, she spoke to Chandravali. No, sorry. Chandravali spoke to Padma. Yeah. So she said, "Oh, golden one, listen, my dear Sakhi. Somehow my heart is totally attached to Syam Sundar. And because I am very attached to Syam Sundar, all my superiors are criticizing me very heavily. My sister-in-law, she is speaking ill about me to others. But what to do? I just can't give up my attraction to Krishna." And then Padma replied, "Oh, lotus eyed one, that you should know you have already seen what happened in the night time. So that fresh love has sprouted between Krishna and daughter of Vrisabhanu, Radharani. But somehow she has not met with Krishna alone. So before she consults with Krishna, uh, we will arrange you to meet with Krishna before. So once Krishna meets you, he enjoys with you, you'll forget Radharani altogether. So I will make some arrangements so that you can meet Krishna before Radharani and Krishna they meet each other." So already Radharani and Krishna they met beside that lake, and everybody can understand the super excellent position of their confidential love. Because anyway, all the gopis, young gopis were glancing at Krishna. They could see Krishna glancing only at Radharani. So my dear friend, although Krishna was glancing at Brisbane Nandini, Radharani, but as far as Krishna's love is concerned, it has no beginning, no end. So in this way, Padma, who is expert in fulfilling desires of Chandravali, encouraged her. And she made all the necessary arrangements for her to meet with Samsundar. So this was happening at one place, and then you can see in the next slide. And something else was happening on other side. So Radharani was sitting in a secluded place with her dear Sakhis, Lalita, Visakha. And her love for Krishna had overpowered her. So when Radharani was in this lonely place, Syama Sakhi, who is very pure and faultless, as we were saying, she's Bhagavad Acharya and Mahaprabhu's Leela, who stays at Varaha Nagar and who is known for constantly reciting Bhagavatam. So she had a assistant called Bakul Mala, Bakul Mala Sakhi. So Bakul Mala Sakhi came carrying a Bakula garland, which you can see in the slide. She's carrying this Bakula garland. So Syama Sakhi said, So he said, "O Vrasmanu Nandini, you are tilak on the head of all the Vrajagopis, and you are the crest jewel of all beautiful girls. So who in this creation is more fortunate than you? Hmm? Among all the living entities, you are personification of love. What to say of all living entities? Your love attracts even the heart of Krishna, who is ocean of wealth and who is ocean of good fortune. And anyway, you can't hide anything anymore. That night on the banks of Yamuna, where Kaliya pastime happened, everybody could clearly see that Krishna was madly in love with you. You could know from his glances. So he pleased everyone, filled the gopis with rasa. Hmm. So all the gopis hanker to taste his love, but like a chakora bird relishes the rays of moon, similarly he was drinking the nectar dripping from your moon-like face only, and that we could understand from his sidelong glances. So as far as I am concerned, my understanding is concerned, you are certainly the only object of his love, no one else. And seeing your mutual love for Krishna and the love of Krishna for you, my distress is now gone, and my heart is inundated with waves of bliss. And when Radharani heard those words, no, she was anyway feeling very sigh, but then she said, "Oh, bold one, why are you so much exaggerating? So, my dear Sakhi, tell me one housewife in Gokula who has not accepted that Kali Damana Krishna. So, everybody accepts Krishna as only object of love. So, why me? Has love for Krishna. So, Kumada flowers open without moon. But as far as lilies are concerned, water lilies, they need the tender touch of moon to show their sweetness. So, if you go to Mayapur, you can see these water lilies. They bloom in the night time. Hmm. So, therefore, you should know that Sam Sundar is the only sweetheart for all the gorgeous girls in Vrindavan. So, it's not me alone. So, that's why Krishna doesn't belong to one Sakhi, he belongs to everyone. So, she just generalizes everything. And then Samasaki said, Radha, don't doubt my words. Uh, so, don't doubt my words, and in this way, don't inflict pain on yourself. So, you have a unique good fortune. Be satisfied with that and be convinced that Lord Samsundar belongs to you only. And then Lalita said, uh, Oh Syame, are you speaking only to console Radharani or really no, there is something solid behind what you are speaking? Syamasaki smiled and she said, Lalite, if you don't believe me, ask my friend Bakul Mala. And then Lalita says, Oh, Bakul Mala, tell the truth. Don't speak something false to just please me. Tell what is the truth. And then you can see the next slide. Bakul Mala begins to speak the pastime. So Bakul Mala said, Hey Radhe, this Bakul Mala will dispel all your doubts. Just by hearing my words, it will give pleasure to your ears. So this morning, that handsome boy Kanhaiya, he passed by me on his way and he went to tend cows in Govardhan, which source of all happiness. So for some time, Krishna prayed with all the gopas, his intimate companions. And then he went with Kusumas, Madhumangal, and he entered in the forest of Bakula trees. So Krishna was appearing like ocean of bliss amidst these Bakula trees. All these Bakula trees were filled with blossoming flowers. And then Krishna, along with Kusumas, Madhumangal, he sat down to string this garland of delicate Bakula flowers. And this garland which Krishna was making glowed so brightly and emitted very sweet fragrance. So I felt very shy, and I was afraid that somebody may see me. So I was hiding behind some forest creepers and watching him for a long time. You can see in the slide also. She's watching from behind the creepers. And then she said, at that time I heard Madhumangal, Kusumaso. So who was this? Kusumas was holding a pet parrot, uh, who is Radhika's parrot, basically Sukha, who becomes later on Sukdev Goswami. And he started describing about how Radharani always glanced at Krishna with loving eyes. So then he told Krishna, Kanaya, when you go behind these cows, na, I have noticed one thing. I have noticed that Radhika stands at the watchtower of her palace and he constantly gazes upon you with a great longing. And you remember that birthday festival? That day we all saw Radhika spent the entire time just looking at you only. She was not interested in anything else. And again, this yesterday only, when you subdued Kalia, people were amazed, but Radhika was staring only at you with fixed attention. And then he says, Hey Radhe, then Bakul Mara says, Hey Radhe, listen to other sweet words which Kusuma spoke. So although his speaking was irrelevant, he said, so Kusuma said, My dear friend, this garland which you have made is very special. Can't you use this garland to win the heart of Radharani? Let this garland swing around her neck and enhance her beauty. So use that garland to win over Radharani. And Krishna started smiling and he replied, What will happen? Nothing will happen. Anyway, your statements are like Ghoda Dimba, below a wisp. So Kusmas somehow reacted to cover his statements. So initially he didn't speak anything. And then suddenly what happened at that time? You can see in the next slide. One more Sakhi comes. And she was from the other side, right wing. Radharani left wing, she is right wing. So Padma Sakhi came there. So Padma Sakhi arrived like an untimely storm and stood next to Krishna. And carrying the passenger of anxiety, she was an anxiety. She was very short distance away from Krishna. And then Madhumangal stopped Padma. Hey, wait. And then Madhumangal started asking Padma, Are Sakhi, what are you doing here? Anyway, you appear like crest jewel of cunning people. Why did you come to this lonely forest grove? And don't you have any sinus? Have you abandoned all the sinus that now you are standing in front of Sham Sundar? So, well, so Kusma was basically discouraging Padma to stand there. But then, full of pretension, Padma had kept a proposal before Krishna very boldly. She said, uh, listen, O beautiful one, my name is Padma, and I am very intimate friend of Chandravali. Maybe Krishna Kusumas could understand that. So then she said, actually, Chandravali has sent me here to pick up some flowers for worship of Mother Gauri, Parvati basically. So the particular flowers required for her puja are available only in this forest grove. And that's why I came here to pick up these Bakula flowers. And then Kusma said, I know very well, I know that Gauri is attached to worshipping Gauri Devi. So why does he repeat the Gauri word twice? Because first Gauri was referring to Chandravali. So I know that Gauri for whom you have come here has come to worship the Gauri Devi. That means you have come because of Chandravali. I understand that. And who is pleased with faith and love? So anyway, Chandravali wanted to worship Mother Gauri, na? Yes, so she should have come to pick up flowers. Why did you come here? And then Padma started like fighting back. She said, "Oh, bold one, you are correct. But what to do? Chandravali is not in a good position. She's bitten the first time by a poisonous black snake called Krishna. So she is like speaking very boldly. And standing by the bank of Yamuna, the poison of his love, Krishna's love, now sears the tender heart of Chandravali. So she openly spoke that Chandravali has love for Krishna. And Madhumangal said, oh, I didn't knew that she is attacked by that poison. So if you are attacked by the poison of a serpent, the only way is stop thinking about that snake. That means stop stop thinking about Krishna. And Padma said, and somehow by some means I'm trying to distract the mind of Chandravali. What to do? And, Madhumangal said, no, 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 no. Actually, it is very difficult to find such a means. So, due to its cowardly nature, a mind fearful of snake can never give up its fear. Similarly, when one's mind is completely attached to Krishna, it can't go anywhere else. Padma said, yeah, true. But anyway, nothing is impossible for one who is full of anxiety. Where there is mind, there has to be anxiety. What to do? So, when one loses one's mind, it's natural he gives up all his anxiety also. And when the anxiety disappears, it can't dominate the mind anymore. So when one becomes enchanted by a beautiful object, that object can also steal away one's mind. So what to do? Anxiety is so amazing. And then Madhumangal said, anyway, so you want to meet Krishna? So go and look for one who steals the mind. Krishna. And then Padma said, at present, your Bakul Mala is that Manohar. That means that garland. That means if I get this garland which Krishna is having, so then Bakul Mala, this flower garland, can decorate the neck of Gauri. That means you can decorate the neck of Chandravali. So I'm not speaking like very uh, clearly. She was having double meaning because Gauri can mean to Durga also. It can mean Chandravali also. So Krishna was hearing that and he said, "Hey, my friend Vrasa, this Sakhi seems very clever. So she wants to decorate neck of Gauri by my Bakul Mala. She has to allow me to make this garland. Only then I can give this garland, na?" And Madhumangal said, "Oh, bold one, Your Bakul garland is meant for our dear friends. It is not meant for anyone else. So only your dear friends are qualified to receive this garland. So Bakul Mala, sorry, Padma, what you should do? Pick up some flowers from here, from the ground, and take that for worshipping Gauri. So Padma replied, no, 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 I can't dare to do that. So why are you depriving me of in this way? Ha, if Krishna gives me some flowers personally, I'll accept those flowers. So Krishna spoke to Madhumangal. He said, anyway, what she is saying is very perfect. So what do? You pick up some flowers, hmm, and you can give it to Chandravali, and Chandravali can use it for performing worship of Mother Gauri. So then Padma became overwhelmed with joy. She took some bakula flowers and then she left. So Bakulamala, she continued to narrate Krishna's pastimes to Radharani. She said, He Radharani, He Radhe, and then I overheard Madhumangal who was saying, My dear Krishna. So for Chandravali, some flowers were there. But now that Madhumangal said, Oh, my dear friend Krishna, if among all the Sakhis like Padma and others, if Sakhi comes from Radharani's party, then she can mitigate the pain in your heart. Then your this particular garland, Bakul Mala, will have some meaning. So somehow we should send this mala to Radharani. And then you can see in the next slide as that she took some garlands. And now Bakul Mala came out. Bakul Mala had already heard what had happened. So Bakul Mala said, So after hearing these words, I moved closer on the pretext of collecting some fallen flowers. And seeing me, Madhumangal said, Hey Sakhi, who are you? Immediately after saying this Sukha parrot, she came, he came to the hand of Krishna and he said, Oh, he is Bakul Mala, Bakul Mala, Bakul Mala. And this Bakul Mala is associate of Syama Sakhi, who is friend of Radharani, Radharani. And she is picking some Bakula flowers to make a garland. Kusumasa said, Oh, Bakul Mala, why you are taking so many pains to make this garland? Huh? Anyway, Krishna has made a garland. Hmm. So when shameless young girls of Gokula can create a bakul flowers and agitate everyone by their sidelong glances, why do you have to take so much pain of making a garland? And this parrot also began to say, So you have this garland, you give it to servant of Syamasaki, and she will give it to Radharani. So see, he told the whole plan. Give it to give it to Bakul Mala. And then Kusmasa said, Samsundar, it seems my words are coming true. And Brahmana and parrot said, Yeah, yeah. Madhumangal is a Brahmana. How can his words go wrong? This garland should go to Radharani. And then parrot said that you give this garland to Bakul Mala and Bakul Mala will give it to Radharani. And then Krishna, who is destroyer of demons, he gently smiled, spoke according to timely circumstances, and he said that young girls of Vrindavan are naturally proud. Then why should they come here and uh, on the orders of Batu means Madhumangal, who is simply Brahmana, entertain everyone with his jokes and silly behavior. And then looked at Sukha and he said, Oh, best among the birds, in order to comfort your mistress, why don't you fly to her? So, hearing your pure, soft, sweet request, Bakula Sakhi accepted that garland from Krishna. And here is the garland. And then she said, Immediately, that best of the birds flew to me and said, "Oh, Bakulmala, do you recognize me? You are picking Bakula flowers. Why not come and see the Prince of Vrindavan? I'll give you that garland." And of course, after that, she gets the garland. And then she said that I replied to the parrot, "Oh, best of the parrots, scriptures are right when they say that one's good and bad qualities depend on his association. So it appears that associating with a person who is wanton by nature dresses in yellow garment. That means Krishna. And he is intoxicated from drinking Madra Ras. And he has bewildered your intelligence. Tell me, will any chaste girl go to some other person other than her husband? And Parrot said, "No, listen, he is not an ordinary person, he is the supreme person. He is not an ordinary person. It's very difficult to attain him. So go to Krishna." And then she said, I replied, "Wait a minute. I can see he's just a man. Why are you calling him a supreme person? Don't try to attract me to Krishna." And then Bakula Mala told to Radharani, "The parrot told me that if I understood his words, I should take that garland, I should give it to Radharani." Hmm. So then, in this way, I was defeated by this parrot, and then I got this Bakul garland. Hmm. So Krishna, he took this garland, he raised his soft lotus palms, he touched my hand, and then looking with a sweet nectarine smile, he gave me this garland. You can see in the next, yeah, next slide. Krishna gave garland to Bakul Mala. So I returned to Syama Sakhi and presented that garland. So I told her all the details, how I got this garland. And now, my mistress, this garland belongs to you. You can see in the next slide. Yeah. So she brings the garland to Radharani. And then Syama Sakhi adorned Radharani's neck with this Bakula garland. Okay. Yeah, you can see here. Radharani is wearing this garland. So Radhika, as soon as she touched the garland, by contact that garland, she developed a sattvic vikar. So her body surged with ecstatic symptoms. Her cheeks swelled with delight. She felt rising of love, and in this way, Radharani's eyes were moistened with the tears as she looked slightly downward out of shyness, and a mild nectarian smile paid her gentle lips. We defeated her tenderness of fresh sprouts. So, in this way, overwhelmed by insurmountable ecstasy, Radharani embraced Bakul Sakhi. You can see the next slide. So she was happy with Bakul Mala. And then immediately she fell unconscious. And then Lalita Sakhi said, "His Syame, it is not only in name but also in fame and quality that this Sakhi Bakul Mala and Bakul Garland are same." Uh, so can't you see that both these Bakul Malas are fragrant and freshly youthful? Because both of them enjoyed the touch of Krishna's lotus hands. And now both of them decorate the neck of Radharani. And Samasaki said, "Yes, you have replied very sweetly." So that is how the exchange with Radha and Krishna ends. So we'll continue with the next uh, episode, Nand Maharaj visiting Vrisbhanu Maharaj, in our next class. So before we end, so we had 3 groups. So we can have 3 tasks for 3 groups. So group number 1, So we had presentation till Brahmaji's prayers, killing of Akasur, Bakasur, Vatsasur. Okay. So group number one uh, can discuss about the beginning of Purva Rag and celebration of Krishna's birthday. That's group number one, including playing of ball also. Playing of ball also. Yes. Group number two can discuss about killing of Dhenukasur, and group number three can discuss about vanquishing Kalia and extinguishing the forest fire. That's group number three. So this task for all the uh, three groups. Okay, so other things we will have in our next class. So we'll end. कृष्ण भगवान की जय, नंद नंदन मोर मुकुट वंशी वाले की जय, आनंद वृंदावन चंपू की जय, कवि कर्णपुर की जय, शील गोपाद की जय, वांछा कल्पतरु वैसा कृपा सिंधु एव च पतितानां पावने वैष्णव नमो नमः। शील गोपाद की जय।